Okay, welcome back. I think everything is working. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm going to assume so. And right, it's like changing tact. I'm feeling a lot better, so I'm inclined to try and hit productivity rather than learning Rust. I've got a lot of learning going on. I'm deep inside the Haskell book. So I'm slowly learning that. I kind of don't want to spend all my time learning. I want to spend some time productive. Rust was a lot like learning. It had a lot of crossovers with Haskell, but it's a too much learning, not enough productivity. So decided to switch back to C++ for writing the little interpreter. Really, my goal is to write an interpreter rather than write an interpreter in a specific language. I know C++ pretty well, so hopefully we can make some reasonable progress. There's going to be some things I missed from Rust, for instance, the derive debug printing, and the match and ifs of expressions, but I think overall doing it in C++ will mean I spend a lot less time on the language and more time excuse me, more time actually writing an interpreter. So let's grow that a little bit so you can see it. Move that over. Currently using CLion. This is just a basic project that CLion's created for me. I've moved the main file into the source directory because that's where I like to keep it. Other than that, it's just whatever it creates for me. What we're going to do is we're going to start with writing Alexa or tokenizer. So do write Alexa. Also going to do write a string return to do debug output for Alexa. I'm going to take the same route we had before, so Alexa will return a vector of Altox, and these will be plain old data, so the Altox. We should have a enum class Altoc type. In that we should have things like valid, let's call it end of file. Here we should have identify number and so on. You see, cold not totally gone. It's still lingering, but my brain's starting to feel a bit more alive, so hopefully we should get some stuff done. So L let's initialize that to Ltoc type. Invalid. Actually, we might make that a non-classy one. But we shall see. We also want an index, so here. Let's put this all in our main. Let's format it. leaves it alone. What doesn't it like about that? LDOC type valid. And let's see what's going wrong here. Expected. Oh, of course, this bit. Using intern str equals uint 32 32t. That will be for things like function names, intern strings, you name it. Finally, we're going to need a stud vector. So we're going quite minimal C++ in terms of our use as the standard. We can probably use standard vector, standard string. We might end up using unordered map. Well, you probably will end up using unordered map, but initially we're going to do everything in vectors. Partly for ease, partly because we might write our own containers for some of this stuff. And we might write a custom allocator. Unsure yet. Well, we'll see how it goes. Can't do that because it doesn't know the size. Children. Can we do that? It doesn't look like we should be able to do that. Of course, because the pointer going off to that so it knows the size of it. We're not going to worry about binaries, we're not going to worry about binary operators, unary operators, all that. They're all going to go into the children. So 1 would be unary, 2 would be binary, 2 children, 3 or more would be n-ary, or whatever you call it. That is going to be our token. What am I talking about? I'm getting confused. Int 32, I'm thinking about parsing AST nodes. Linum. At the top. Let's put 32, 448. Yeah, that's pretty okay. Think about pack instruct, so that's 4 bytes. It's another 4 bytes, so they're all going to be aligned nicely packed, so it's 8 bytes in total. That we're going to make a enum class. Does it go here? Uint 8_t. No, it doesn't go there. It goes somewhere else, doesn't it? Yes. Go over here. I do that quite regularly. Unint. That's what I first thought. Okay, probably not going more than 256, so we should be good to go. I've got 2 drinks to try and keep my throat. Not parched. Hydrated. Okay. How are we doing? Yep, we're getting a green light. Health. Good. Your viewers are happy. I don't have any viewers. But hey, that's not the point. And what's that say end of file? Why is that complaining? End of file. There you go. First up, we need to be able to intern strings. So let's go string interner. Do it up here. That. string, boom, 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 struct in turn. In fact, let's call that string ID, stir ID. Yeah. Okay, so stir ID, and then stir string as our container. Don't you like it like that, I wonder? Does not contain types. For now, let's have static. I'm not worried about threading at the moment because we're not going to be doing any for quite a while. When we do, we can whack a mutex there and hopefully it won't become a problem. If it does, we'll solve it. Right, so we want a stirred vector of returned pair in turned strs. Okay, it's going to initialize itself to nothing, and now we just want to do stir ID turn string jar star p size t len. You know what? That's a terrible idea. It's the constructor. Right, just going to go on the internet to check the constructors out. I think we've got a string constructor. Looking for one that takes a child pointer and a length. I reckon there is one. There it is. Yeah, of course it does. Cool. Make sure p length. I'm just going to use that in comparisons for one without auto. Auto reference pair inter strs if pair dot value equals str turn pair dot id. It's good. So if we have it, we find it and we've done it. If we don't have it, we need to add it, which is fairly simple. Turn strs dot place back. What do we need? Size +1. Means invalid. I don't know if we're going to make use of that, but it means we can only have 2 to the power of 32 minus 1. Can live with that. Sorry, let me continue. Right, and turn strings, and we can move str and shouldn't know about std move, does it? Oh, God, I'm creating it. Initialize list. Just as expected. Std move is in memory. Oh. I don't really want to go creating heaps. Not happy because I was. That's the size T, which is 64 bits. I only want a 32 integer ID. Now that. Oh, goodness. Put one on the back, so we just have to return strid. That will give us the ID that we can create here. That's not clear though, so let's. I wonder if expand region is going to do its thing for me. Yeah, it is. So it's available in many. So in Visual Studio Code, there's a plugin. Vi has very similar things. Visual Studio half does it, but if you press Ctrl W in CLion, expand selection, and it keeps on expanding it. And I think you should do Shift, it shrinks it back down again. Shift Ctrl W, and should keep it down. Super handy once you get used to it. In this case, I just want to get rid of that and return ID. Visual Studio only does it at one level. When you press it again, it doesn't do anything. I dream that they change that. Right. So, what we want to do is get rid of that. Yes. World. Just make sure something's running. Not found an iStream yet. Include C standard IO. Let's make sure everything's built and everything runs. Hello world, yeah. Printf ID .i. Turn string. Oops. Hello. And it's going to be 6, 5, 6. Load, and let's let go like that. Of course. ID1, ID2, ID that. Now finally we want to get, this is going to be for debug, we want to be able to get a char star out of it. So we want to go from an ID to a char const star, which is going to be null terminated. Turn ID. At the moment we can do return Stewart underscore ID -1 dot data. Now of course we can't actually do that because that's the type. And we need a value. This is a really bad way of doing string turning because we've got a linear search for lookup and we've got a linear search for adding, just getting it out. So it should be a hash table, but it's going to be nicely in behind interface, so we can come and create that when we want. We could use an unordered map, even a map, anything, set maybe, more likely a hash table. Now while I was writing that, I just wanted to check. String. Lookup one is that makes sure we can resolve everything. Hello. Awesome. Let's put that into its own file. Return Stewart. And yeah, let's add them to our that should have not a lot going on there. Let's include it. Return Stewart. I want that to be strings. No. So that's got to be in our header file. D, don't know who that is. I wonder if these standard into is what I want. Don't need that. We don't need that. String hash into vector. Oh, I don't know about you either. What? So I need that as well. Yes, I do. The vector, I'll leave memory in there. We're not going to want the string. awesome. So what we've done, we've made a quick string interning. The idea is that we're translating strings, or in our cases, segments of code. So maybe, you know, a function named main will be sent into, and we'll get an ID back. The ID represents a string. We send main if we send the same bit of text in twice. So if someone calls main, which would be a bit weird, twice, you get the same ID back all the time. So you can use this string ID as a comparison and representation of the string. Should we need it to get, for some reason, for instance, if we're outputting some debug error messages, or debug output or error messages, we need to get hold of the string, we can do it via interned to string, I guess. No, what do we reckon that should be? C++, isn't it? Let's just do struct. So we either to actually either intern a string, or we can convert an ID back to a string. This has a number of good attributes. It means that the tokens that we're going to generate when we lex can be small, which means we can pass them by value. There's going to be no extra memory allocations. The string interning is a bit rubbish at the moment. We're using a vector. We're also doing up here an allocation, a probable allocation. It may not allocate if the length of the string is small enough. Before we do any comparisons, so every time we add a new string, we're definitely going to do an allocation. Not a fan of that, but we can easily fix that later on. I just not that worried. We'll profile, we'll see it spring up, and then we will fix it. For now, we can move on. It's a tiny amount of code behind a very simple interface, so we can start adding magic to this file whenever we want, and the rest of the code will be unaware. Future change would be we make it thread safe. So we'd add a new text probably as initial stab, and then maybe something else. There can only ever be one instance, which will make it a singleton-like class. Because you want all the strings, you don't want two string interners, because they could give different IDs for the same string. Yeah. That about sums it up. So here we are. We can now do a string ID. We can do a line number and token type, acting in a nice way. Excuse me, the throat is getting dry. Next job, let's tokenize. So what we're going to do, we've got a function that is going to return a std vector of ldoc tokenize, and it's going to take a char star star, which will do the code. Tokens. Oh, press escape. Tokens. Next, we can tokenize. That's, we're going to break up some code into lots of little individual tokens. So it's going to be like, if it comes across an if, it's going to return an if token. If it comes across a string, it's going to return a string token. At the moment, we're going to focus on identifiers and numbers. And enter files and all sorts of fun stuff. Oh, excuse me. It's not even late. Let's check the stream is working. Yay, it is. I'm hoping I'm speaking loud enough. It's kind of a bit awkward talking because lots of people in the house are actually sleeping, and even though it's only 9 o'clock here, but all would be good. Would be good if I could lose the cold. So, first up, we need to do auto current equals code. Let's make that explicit. Star 4. Oh, we've got a current. Do we move on? Current. Yeah. Switch. At the moment we only want that to be an integer. Switch star current. And I want to do, as we come out of here, waving at it like you can see what I'm talking about, as we exit the for loop, the current will be null. Therefore, what should we do? Let's not worry about that for now. I'm wondering where to put the null, the terminator, in the file. Actually, we could call it terminate, couldn't we? Sounds better. EOF. Switch. Case 0. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are digits. Therefore, we shall pass digits. You know what, let's just keep this all in line. I know it's not the greatest code you ever write. Then tokens pushback inside my line number would be. Nope, new stop line numbers are 1. Push back. Unintuitive, but I'll talk type integer. There we go. Finally, we want current equals end. Now, just for fun, f num s. Make sure we're getting out what we are. Token. And we got nothing. What went wrong? Well, thankfully, we can find out. Wait. There it is. Values. These guys are literal character values. They should be characters. Make sure that I'll pick up anything off the end. Good, why not? Now let's get default case. So we're going to now start trying to match an identifier. Too many ABCs and possibles. Not going to support anything outside the ASCII range at the moment. That's doable, but we're not going to worry yet. If is ID start current, gets us out of there. Always ID start C. Does it start with a letter or an underscore? Letter being ASCII A to Z and capital A to Z. We can do all is ID. Continue char C. Eventually the chars become ints, because then we can use a UTF-32 representation, which should cover most things. And and then we will either add a ranges in or just look at the ranges for ID start and ID continue. ID start means does it start, is it the start of an identifier? ID continue is a continuation of identifier. Continuations are a superset of ID start because they can include numbers and maybe some other characters. As we should just see is alpha numeric or the equals. It maybe we decide to allow things like $. I'm not really sure yet. This gets a long way. The nice thing the way we set up, all we've got to do is change these to ints and then handle the UTFs. Unicode characters. At the moment, we only advance the character at that point. We will have to do an advance function, which we're going to work with UTF-8, which will advance anywhere up to 4 or 6 characters. I can't remember. Crunch them all into a integer and return that. Then we just switch on them again. So those will be the only changes we need to make. There might be another place we need to do an advance. Everywhere we do an increment, so somewhere in here we do an advance as well. Nothing major, it'd just be a few places we change this. Tokenizer is the only place that we should need to worry about character encodings. There's the byte order marker as well, which we need to take account of at the start of a file if we hit it. But after that, all our strings are going to be in turn, so it's going to be represented by IDs, so we don't think about strings after that. Maybe surprising because you think of an interpreter as working a lot with text, but once you've tokenized it, you don't think about it again. Even if we didn't intern the strings, convert them into IDs, we could use a string view, which would be a pointer and a length. And again, what's inside that doesn't matter. It's just bits that we compare against. Worst case, you could use strings. Standard strings are char-based ones, so pretty much you can put UTF-8 in there. And again, the only thing you really do with it is either print it or compare against it. So it's all in the Alexa. Once you've done that, you don't think about character encoding again. He says. I'm sure there's some edge case that I only thought of. So auto start end equals current +1. So that'd be an advance. I might refactor it out already. While is ID continue start end. You could probably do the ++ in there, but people don't like that style anymore for some reason. Here we go. Now we are pretty much back to this. The exception of we've got an identifier. Ident. So hopefully we now get 2 things out, but maybe not. Things are not happy. Why are things not happy? And probably something to do with that. We are rolling off somewhere. Oh well. It's hitting the end. More one past the end. And then we're incrementing. No. So why is that not happening with our number? Luck is happening with our number. Good. So rule is we leave it on the last one. Or do we leave it on the current one and not? I hope going for that. And then put that to a while loop. You can type while. Switching mate. Dun dun dun. Now plus current 22 should not be needed. Should be error. We will probably create another little subsystem for errors, so we just log a subsystem. But for now, this should give out 2, and this should also give out 2 tokens. Yep, we're skipping over that guy because that's good. Cool. Right, got identifiers, we've got that. Okay. Guess that's in keywords, so keyword if keyword while keyword function. Here we go. Now the fun bit. Auto keyword fn equals return str if 3 because null terminated. While 1, 2, 6 null terminated. Now we can just do comparisons on these. Keyword const keyword what do you not like about that? Okay, so now I can just do switch. No, I can't, because that needs to be compile time now, and could do some hashing. I don't really want to do constant time hashing. map hash table lookup if statement. Okay, that pretty much sets the pattern. Do the typing here. I've tempted that we should zero out the ID. To hash table. Maybe. So it goes. Now we're getting close to needing some got a feeling that could need a static cast. Needs to be in the right position for starters. Okay. That doesn't seem right. 10 to 5 is 1. The others. Excuse me. And let's go into here. And Shift F9 should put us in the debugger. F9 should take us there. F8. Oh, well, that wasn't quite what I was expecting to go. Step over. Stepping over. Right, so what are we interested in? 1, 2, 3. My ID is 4. Well, let's go here. Print. What if I get 1, 2, 3, 4. That and that are a problem. Okay. From 2 We don't know why it goes in there, but hey. Length is 2. I think my length was 3. Let's go to GDB. Print pair dot value dot data. Size 3. Size 2. Off by 1 errors, got 11. So I think my number 5, remember first n characters, I mean, yeah, I'm off by 1 on those guys, which is not surprising. I think that was bad news. 2, 5, 2, F2, Shift F10. I did 3, cool. So we don't want to be doing that again. Okay, prone to bugginess. So let's fix that. Now, the old question is, does string len contain the null pointer? The answer to that is, no it doesn't, but I'm going to check. The length is determined by the null terms. As expected. Without including an automated character, as expected. So, we need to expose that. Coolio. Main. No chance of mistakes. Getting out. Yep. Identity 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. I got off my pace a little bit. To do, we should return an error. To do, convert to a hash table. To do that. Entire integer invalid. What should we add next? L paren R paren L curly R curly. Copy and paste those. is where we'll start getting into some macros, I think. Yep. Okay. It's definitely going to end with plus plus. Current. And token start. Pushback. 0 equals no ID. Line num. L. Doc. Type. L. N. Repetitive code. Paren. Okay. Change you. Thank you. Editing. Still ID. Cool. Right, we have no way of checking this at the moment because we print it out later. But let's just put a 10 there, make sure we get there. Cool. In fact, I might have tempted to stop you while doing that. Doing here, we're not really creating anything. Now we just unary. I know. Defines are terrible. Defines are terrible. Why is that complaining? That was a warning, it's not even staying anyway, so... it should be something like ZI, shouldn't it? No. Happy days. We do a binary one when we've got things like plus equals. But for now, let's just do this all over again. we go. That gives us see you and see you here. Not what we're expecting. Get the function, and then it goes crazy times. Type. What did we miss? No break. Spell up. And making quite a way into here. Right, my voice is getting croakier and croakier. Although better than a few nights ago. So we wrote a string interna. We are part way through this and need to do this. It's not too bad. Code's not brilliantly performant, but it's there and it's hopefully working. Seems to be working. Nothing complicated, we're not using any complicated concepts. We're using a hash define, which many C++ people think are evil, but in this case it greatly reduces the amount of code I have to write, which reduces the bugs I'm going to write and mistakes. It also makes it very obvious when I've got something wrong, because it's just data. There's a curly and there's a matching thing. It's good if you write code that looks obviously wrong. If I write identify there, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb, isn't it? And that's good. ID start. We're a good place to support UTF-8, Unicode. I always call it UTF-8 because that's encoding. Unicode is the standard. I think about UTF-8 strings. I rarely say Unicode. I nearly said UTF-8 again. Most importantly, I didn't have to stop, with the exception of looking up string len, which I knew the answer to, but I always have to check that, and a constructor on our standard string, which I probably could have guessed, to be fair. There was no slowing down to learn the language. I think we're going to enter streaming a second. I should be looking on there. All is good. Wow, it's an hour to date. It's only 10 to 10. I'm probably going to go on and do the debug output, but not on a stream, not interesting. And that is going to conclude it. Okay then, I hope this worked, and I shall stream again soon. Okay, let's